let's begin. Jan? What we wanted to do today was just do a quick run through of what we're going to do on Monday evening. So I have the slides here if you want to.
Have you joined Zoom?
No, I haven't joined Zoom, so I'll do that. Hi, Michaela.
Hi, all. How are you?
Yeah, is that your house?
This is the house that the theater rents for us, and we
Well, it's
share
kind of
it.
your house for now, yeah.
All right.
It's raining, but we'll take
Can we
it.
get a picture of the cliffs? Do you have a view of the cliffs?
No, I don't.
No view? Those cheapies.
No, they moved us. They moved us. So we used to have a view, and now we're closer to town, but no view.
Oh, the
Good.
horror.
How is it going? Have you had a show yet?
Yeah, we opened last week, so it's going well. It's going well.
Great. You're selling out? What shows are
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah. They're doing Life Spirit, an old Howard play, and a new play about a woman who worked with Bob Fosse. And then at the end of the summer, 39 Steps, which is like the Hitchcock kind of zany comedy.
You know, the Waldorf School did Blythe Spirit this past year. We could have saved you some money on actors.
Really? That's great.
They say no,
Nice
they're
to see you
live.
all.
Okay, here comes, oh, Janet, you have your own name now. Oh, wow. Rather than Larry. Interesting. How did that happen,
Hi,
right?
Alan.
Hello, Alan. We don't know, some of us don't know you. There's Jan. Oh, I can turn the video off. Oh, we lost Alan.
It was brief visit.
A brief hello, goodbye, not even hello. Okay, okay, well,
Now you have to share it. Yeah. So we go to share screen.
oh, he's back. I think I'd learn how to do this, wouldn't you?
Do you have the slides open?
Yes, I do.
It says whiteboard, is that it? Whiteboard, Google Chrome, iPhone, iPad. You sure they're open? I don't see them open. You just click on the background here.
Mark, have you had a chance to look at all the last version?
I don't know if I have seen the last version. I'm actually looking for
I
it.
know it's up.
Oh,
It's right here. It's up. should-
okay.
You got it. The last version. You don't think I'm able to really concentrate. I can type. It's okay. You can just pretend. That's all right. Just say we met. Read along or can. Oh, there's a question for you. This is not a good one. I mean, this doesn't be bad. Should we wait till that? Okay, there we go. It's just.
And you want to go into slideshow mode?
Yeah. I said he should call. Okay.
So where is it on the town website?
It should be under Affordable Housing Trust.
Is it meeting?
Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do today is just quickly run through what the sequence of things are. And then I wanted to make sure we focus on the questions at the end and whether we are all in agreement about whether those are the right questions.
Do you have a printout of those I can go copy
Of these?
of the questions?
Yes, I do.
In fact, I'll do them all for you.
Agenda.
Okay.
Is it two-sided?
No, I've written on a couple.
These are the questions for the discussion.
Yeah.
And what is-
Just ignore that.
Okay. You can come. I've already seen them.
Okay, so this would be where you're starting. So Randy is going to open the meeting by having introductions of all of us on the trust committee and of Karen, who's going to be with us at that time. So, and then basically go through what is the purpose of our doing a Stockbridge housing production plan, which are these.
Could I just ask a quick question? Michaela, are you able to join by a Zoom on Monday night?
Yes, I am. Can can we go over before this meeting today ends, the timeline of that? But yes, I can.
Okay, that's terrific. Thanks.
Okay.
And Mark, you don't think you will be able to?
Well, we have commitments with other people down there. We're visiting, staying in houses and stuff. I'm not sure what I can do.
Okay, it's 6 to 8,
Okay.
so you can
Yeah,
at least have
Michaela-
that on your mental.
It's from
Because
6
we'd
to
love to
8.
have you.
Yeah,
And
I can do that for sure.
here's what I was told by Terry. We're going to meet in the community room. And we are, at least I am unsure that we could have a cast of thousands and we may not. But we did get that terrific, everybody saw, I assume, the article that was in the paper, which was pretty, terrific. Disappointing that Jan wasn't quoted in it, but great advertisement for the meeting. But anyway, the plan is to meet in there, have the presentation in there so that we can have the Zoom. And if by chance we get a very, very large crowd and people are standing and it's really can hardly fit in there, then the plan is to go into the auditorium for the breakout session and come back for the final summary. Because that was Michael's idea. And it seems reasonable.
So we would need to make sure that there are enough chairs or whatever set up in the gym as well. Michael said that he would be setting up tables in the community room with the chairs around them.
With the chairs around them.
So that should work pretty well.
And I would imagine those on Zoom, we're not doing breakout rooms we're just, right?
I don't think you'll be able to even listen in the breakout rooms because there's no Zoom if we go. Now, if we stay in the community room, the Zoom will still be on and you'll be able to.
Right. I mean, like, we're not doing breakout rooms on Zoom.
That's correct.
It's a possibility, though. I've done breakout rooms on Zoom.
Who has the expertise
You
to
have to have
do?
a different Zoom screen though, for the people in the room, you can't break them out.
Okay.
And also, I think that Michaela's other point, if I'm putting words in your mouth, Michaela, is that you may want to make sure that the agenda discloses that the breakout rooms will not be hybrid, because that may be a legal requirement. I would check with Michael today.
Okay.
Okay, the agenda is posted for it, which is the agenda you sent me.
Yeah,
And I copied everybody, I think.
yeah.
So you saw it.
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that.
So we'll have to,
I'm not sure you have to or not. I would just check with Michael.
okay.
Okay. Is he here today?
No,
Okay.
I don't
Because
think so.
I was just gonna say, depending upon how many people are on Zoom, I could facilitate a breakout room on Zoom if you wanted me to, but
Oh.
it would depend on how many people were on there.
So do you know how to do that on?
Yeah. I'd have to have some kind of like co-hosting privileges that allow me
Okay.
to do that. But it's just a thought. I don't want to complicate things. Just a thought.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Because in the absence of that, what are all the people on Zoom going to be doing while we're breaking out?
Good question. Yeah.
I mean, it calls it, Karen, what do you think about this issue and how it relates to whether we should do breakout rooms if we have a significant Zoom attendance?
Well, I haven't run into this situation before. Either the meeting was all Zoom or it was all in person. And, usually it's hard to get the breakout groups on even cable access TV. So having the hybrid on, that format, I just haven't experienced it. And I would assume that you need some significant IT direction, but maybe Michaela is making a very generous offer.
We just used to do it a lot for academia during COVID. We'd have to have all these huge meetings and stuff. It just is a matter of how many people show up. That's the only challenge, because you really do need a facilitator in each online breakout room. You know what I mean?
You do.
So I could be making it more complicated. I just, wanted to ask, but let's just go with what you have. It's too close to the date, I think. And we'll see.
Well, is it,
I think encouraging people to be here is just what we have to do too. Yeah.
is there, I guess I could ask Terry to, or we could type up an addition on the agenda and repost the agenda if you want.
Yeah.
And just say that the breakouts will not be on
Yeah,
Zoom.
but let's just talk about kind of the flow of the meeting for a second. So if, let's say we get 30 people in person and 20 on Zoom, for example, all right? How long did we envision the breakout part of the process is going to last?
It's about an hour.
The breakout alone is an hour.
To
And it
get
means,
through everything.
okay, so, and so we're going to run through our presentation, which is what, 15, 20 minutes?
15 minutes.
So 15 minutes, then we've got an hour breakout, and then what happens after that?
Then we get back together and there's the reporting out from the breakout room.
And how long is that?
Well, it's all in this agenda I sent out with the.
45 minutes?
It depends on how many groups you have.
Right.
Yeah,
The point I'm making is we are likely to lose, if there's an hour blank time, we're going to lose everyone on Zoom with this format.
The group reports they could see.
I'm just saying, nobody's going to sit around with the screen blank for an hour.
Well, I think that's why we should encourage people to be here. I mean,
Yeah.
we've always done it where it's, until now, we've done it where it's in person in terms of a big town thing.
Yeah.
It's at night, it's not during the day. It's the summer, so everybody who's here is here.
It's probably going to be raining.
I
And we're
think,
not outside.
yeah, if we're not.
Past this prologue.
If we're not going to have breakout rooms for the Zoom participants, then we need to have some way for them to provide input to us.
How about if we do this? If we move all the breakout rooms there, I'd be happy to stay back with Michaela and we could do a virtual breakout room right out of the room here. And we could basically ask the same questions in the breakout and we could treat everyone on Zoom as one breakout room and we'll just keep the thing going.
We could do that. Yeah,
And even Patrick, on that night, if there's a significant amount of people on Zoom, we can, as long as one of us has like the, facility to do so, we can.
Well, we
make
don't
it-
need to break, it doesn't have to be created as a breakout room if we're just treating everybody as one breakout on Zoom. Then we literally just keep the meeting going while everyone else leaves.
I think that's a very good
And they can
idea.
always write in the chat and you can save the chat as well.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Right.
Oh,
We don't-
you don't do that?
Yeah, we don't record the chat because has to do with the open meeting law. I don't understand it.
Oh.
Well, I think that's an excellent idea. And then what that says though is that we move everybody into the gym.
Yeah.
No matter whether we have 1 or 2 or 3 or 20
Right.
breakout rooms.
And do we have any refreshments?
We don't at the moment.
Maybe the gym, that might be nice, just to have
Water.
some sodas or something, lobsters.
Lobsters.
Michaela?
Kayla, can you arrange the lobsters?
Yeah, $68 a pound. It's
Yeah,
always
that's right.
good. I'm not kidding.
Nantucket prices.
I'm not actually kidding. It could be good just to get people like up and get the blood flowing and like get a change of, you know what I mean? That's always nice in a meeting.
Yeah, particularly a 2-hour meeting.
Are there, I was wondering in Patrick outlining the timeline, are you guys taking any questions about, like if someone wants to clarify one of the slides before going into the breakout groups? Are you making space for any kind of questions that might come up?
I think we can do that. The question.
I think it's important.
Yeah, and whether we do it as we're going through
No,
or ask,
No.
or, yeah, that's kind of my sense too,
I
Karen.
think you just through it, you ask the whole questions and comments, you get through it, and then you have a short question and answer. If it starts going beyond 15 minutes, you can say, we'll be in the room. If anybody has any questions, just kind of reach out to us and we'll address them then.
Okay.
That's my strong recommendation.
Okay,
And in fact, I got to say, this session might be less than 2 hours because I was figuring a longer time for the presentation. So the abbreviated presentation will take less time. So we're probably not talking about a 2-hour.
Good. I think under 2 hours is good.
yeah, I do too.
And just so we have a plan, what is the number under which we just have one big breakout? So in other words, we don't do breakouts. If we have, let's say, less than 15 attendees that are not on the board, I think maybe we keep everybody together.
I agree with that,
Okay.
including
So-
the people on Zoom.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, Karen, what's the kind of ideal size for a breakout group?
6 to 8.
Okay, so
If it's 5 to 7, that's not a problem. I mean, and some groups do great with 4. It goes quicker if there are fewer people, but it's also nice in the group to have more voices that they hear and interact with.
Yeah.
So
well,
basically-
let's say 5, if
What?
5 people in a breakout group.
No, I think if we get less than 15, it's a smaller group, we should all talk together. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, why break it into 2 groups? It doesn't feel like it's kind of,
I was thinking 3, that's what I said about 5. If there are 15 people there, that's theoretically 3.
so you want to say 12, if it's less than 12, we just don't do a breakout.
I think, yeah, we could do that. If the
Okay.
total, including Zoom.
Because we're also making
Because-
people who don't stay the whole time.
Well, but we also want to make sure that whoever it does come, that we do hear from them. And
Yeah.
we have an opportunity to hear what their thoughts are.
Yeah, of course.
So let's say 10 to 12 people, not including us. If that's what we have in the room, then we're going to stay. I don't think counting Zoom.
Yeah, okay. I think that's fine.
Okay. All right, so we have so should we move on? If we have the introduction,
Right. Sorry, one more thing. How many tables, how should we assess setting up the cafe, the gym?
Say again?
Do you want to set up for 5 breakout groups? Do you want to set up for 4 or 10?
So for the max that we might have, I mean, we don't know. So I think you got to go with the assumption of just setting up chairs and tables. Yeah.
so let's do 5.
5, okay.
And if there are only enough people for 3,
That's okay.
we're okay.
And if we get it over, do you have, Patrick, your antenna for the community is such, do you have any sense?
Antenna?
Antenna, your community antenna.
Oh, I think with the Eagle thing, it might be, I think we'll get 30 or 40 people. I think, but you never know. It's the middle of summer, it's a Monday and, you know, if someone's at your house.
No, yeah, that's right.
So, you know.
Forgive me. And that,
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's generally since COVID, public meetings have been sparsely attended. So that's the other thing to think about. We don't know.
Yeah.
was the last big study, I forget the name of it, but that was, Liz said was pretty well
That was long
attended.
before COVID, though.
Oh, you're talking about
The one where we had like
the visioning plan? Yeah, that was
Yes,
very well
okay.
done. And so was the zoning review committee. That was pretty well attended too. But we'll see those. I mean,
So if we get 80 people,
We'll pull out more tables.
we should have a party and order pizza.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get 80.
okay.
And you don't necessarily need tables. I mean, you can just
Right.
put everyone in a
That's
little
true.
circle.
Exactly. Chairs.
Okay, just
Like
put chairs in a circle.
Chairs.
Yeah.
I do think we should do a count. This is in all seriousness. I think we should do a count when we start. And for each table, so if we're gonna have 4 breakout sessions, we should get a pizza for each table. I'll donate the pizzas, I don't care. I think we should, because it's dinner time, I think we should give people something to eat. Yeah, we can get those nice ones over from Baldi's. Yeah, the giant ones, they have those giant ones. And they deliver.
But how will you know how many to order?
We'll count people in the room, then we have half an hour, we order them and they show up in the gym.
Ah, okay.
Wow, enticement.
Are there facilitators? There won't, and like, let's say that happens and there's a lot of people, obviously there's only the amount of you that exists. So is it also important to designate someone in each group as the sort of the note taker for the
Yeah.
group or the
Yes,
lead,
absolutely.
or the lead facilitator?
Right.
Just someone who
Yeah.
can report back for the group.
Yeah, we're going to have instructions that Karen has written
Awesome.
for each of the breakout groups. And if Patrick is the one for Zoom, he'll have those and we'd have a recorder.
Right.
So we're also going to have 5, because 2 of the questions are basically the same, just putting prioritization on this list. So we're going to have 5 easels and flip charts so that we can have the notes put on those easels for each of the 5 basic questions. When we get to that.
And the
You
idea,
know what, that doesn't, typically it's each group has a flip chart and easel. If you don't have enough, you can just take sheets from the flip charts and give them to each group. But it's better for each group, the recorder, to keep track of all the questions on the sheet for each group, not by question, by group, and then present the actions for their particular group on which people will vote. So it shouldn't be 5 questions. It should be each group gets questions. And if we don't have a full flip chart, we just give them pages and markers and they're fine. And I'll select the pages at the end and do a summary.
Okay,
Where are the easels coming from? Just,
Michael's going to get them.
I just want to make sure we have.
No, he said that he understood we didn't have that many, but he was going to stop and get them, so they'd be
And
set up.
pens.
And pens
And
and
pens.
flip charts, yeah.
wait a minute, Karen, I just heard, I thought we were going to have each group present its findings. You just said you're going to present?
No. Each group, the recorder from each group presents their findings on just the actions, just their priority actions. I'll, at the end, take all, and then they'll be voting. At the end, I'll gather all the sheets from each group, and then I'll take it back to my office and do a summary that can then be attached to the HPP.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so let me run through the next 10 slides very quickly. You've all seen them twice already, so there have been minor changes to them. But basically, we look at the current housing inventory, look at what's happening with the resident
Can I
population.
just say, those charts look great.
Congratulations, Patrick. Patrick did all the charts, in case you didn't catch that. He did an excellent job.
Yes, he did.
That wasn't fishing.
Declining student population, aging population, increasing wealth and poverty, and decreasing middle income.
That one, can you go back, except for that chart?
That one chart needs to be fixed, yeah.
We need to
Send this back to me.
fix that. It needs to, you're gonna take the middle data out, just have the, or,
I wouldn't take the middle data
No, we'll just
out.
make it bigger so it's legible.
well, can't we reduce it to like 3 points or 4 points rather than all of
Well, I
that?
can't even read it.
Yeah, so we will do that. And I'll be in touch with Patrick, so we'll do that.
I mean,
But
to make,
I want to make the point that the low income is growing and the higher income is growing and the middle is shrinking.
so
Yeah,
if you consolidated the middle and left the 2 ends,
oh, we'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
we'll do that. Slow growth in housing and low vacancy rates, which, there isn't a lot of supply out there for the demand that's obviously showing up. Recent house prices. And when we go through this, I want to mention, not put it on the slide, but mention that the Stockbridge, the 575 is actually higher than any of the immediate towns around here. And I'll have those numbers. And it's even higher than the state median. Yes.
I would add a third column too that says down payment. Because that's based on 20% down payment. So that would be what, 120 grand or so for the first line. And it would be, 80 grand for the second line. I think it's important that, because even just the down payment is out of reach for so many people. And even high income people,
You want to have another column or
Another
just a
column that
footnote
says-
saying this is assuming?
Either, or you could just say it verbally, but
Yeah, can it be just a talking point, something important to point out?
Yeah, and I can make that point when we get to the 575, that would mean, we're putting
Okay.
down this amount of money.
But it's actually either actually saying or putting it on there someplace. I mean, 20% of, 575 is
120.
close to 120, yeah.
Yeah,
500.
And the other one is 80. And actually seeing those numbers is,
And is it,
Jarring.
yeah, it's
all right,
jarring.
all right, we'll add another column.
and I would also just do another talking point where this is based on very few sales on two-family homes. So the number actually for a two-family home is likely to be higher. It makes absolutely no sense.
It includes.
Actually, it's based on the median in the assessor records. And the median, those records, since they underestimate market prices somewhat, chances the median is underestimates somewhat. But that can be a talking point.
I thought the
Okay,
575 wasn't assessor records. I thought that was
No.
based
No,
on.
no, that's from banker and tradesman. But because there weren't enough sales to deal with a median based on sales, based on banker and tradesman, we use the assessor's records.
But then I wouldn't say median price
But-
in the header.
It's the median from assessors. The single family home is the median from banker and tradesman.
Yes, that's the sales.
Yes.
Exactly. And it includes both resident and second homeowner sales.
Yes.
Yes.
But the two-family is not sales. It's what the assessor has.
Yeah, I think
That's
we
right.
should do a header for that.
There weren't sufficient sales to justify a median.
Let's repeat that.
The assessor's
So change it to a second header that says assessor
realistic.
required income.
Yeah.
Not about a two-family.
Yeah, so because that's not at all clear.
Not going to find it.
Yeah,
And that's actually, the assessor's ones are very much lower.
So we have to make the point that this is based on assessor's numbers, and assessor's numbers are lower than what market rate is
for the two-family.
for anything. If it's for the
Yeah.
two-family on this one, but
But this is median
Is there,
sales price.
Karen, is there any other place where the number is assessor-based?
Well, in the draft needs assessment, I have some other numbers on this, on this presentation, no.
this is what we're dealing with.
Just a presentation, so, just so we know that, because that's a big distinction.
Well, this is only where you have medians anyway.
Okay. Then the cost burdens that people are having, and I think it's important to kind of remind everyone how this data was collected, which is the federal government doing a survey, if you will, of a percent of the population in Stockbridge and asking for information about what they are actually spending on their housing costs. So this is quite significant, but it also is subject to, we have a small sample size and small resident population. So there may be just statistically, some error in it. But it's significant enough that we should, even if it's only, 1 in 4 that's spending 30%, that's still significant.
And anecdotally, most people in the audience will know friends that are strapped, particularly now that interest rates have gone up.
Right, and then this one, we had the discussion about 715 versus the 575. Those are all market median prices. We just extrapolated, assuming that the median income stays about the same this year, but we don't have a figure for that. So that's an estimate. But we've also added what the ratio is of what the median house price to income is.
And that, even if it's off by a bit, it makes the point how significantly things have changed.
Right, so then we have 2 slides, one on the summary of what we've said about population and one on housing. And then it's after these two briefly, I guess what we should do is stop and ask if anyone has questions on what's been presented so far.
Can we go back one?
Yep.
Little diversity sounds critical to the town. Can we say it's increasing, but, but I mean, I think that it's a talking point, but this is a slide that is the thing that, people, is in the takeaway. I mean, diversity did increase by.
It's gone from 6 to
11, right?
11 or 12.
Yeah, so I mean, another way to say it is diversity doubled, but, and then verbally you can say it, that, we could make progress there, but I don't want to kind of come across as, it's not,
Right.
I don't know how to say that, but.
It's happening. It's just happening slowly.
Yeah, diversity improving slowly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
How about increasing but limited diversity?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And I can just say,
I mean, I just think we should.
What is it, lots of people think the word diversity means black.
Well, I think that diversity means a lot of things. And so the question is, how do you define it, which someone may ask, but, because there's not just racial diversity, but there's like socioeconomic diversity. I mean, I think it's important to make that point of what are we saying when we say diversity?
Yeah, why do we need to address diversity at all? Right,
because how are you going to
It's
answer?
a whole can of worms. Michaela's point is absolutely right.
Karen, do you know, can you speak to what the report says? What's the definition of diversity?
It's under kind of racial composition section, and it says basically that the non-white population has been increasing, albeit still limited.
So, yeah, I think as long as it's clear on.
So it should be racial, if
That
we're
is-
going to say it at all.
But
why do we need to say it?
why do we need to say this one?
Well, I think if you don't say it, I think
Some people will be interested in that.
I think it is, I mean, I have friends of friends who say they won't move to the Berkshires because they are Black and they don't feel comfortable. I think that that's a problem. And I think that that's something we have to talk about. And if we don't talk about it, it actually looks like we just sweep it under the rug. So I think it's important to acknowledge it. We don't have to, I don't think people will necessarily get into it because that's not what this overall thing is about, necessarily just that. But I do think it's important to acknowledge it, because if you don't acknowledge it, then it almost looks like it's not a factor at all, that you're not thinking about it.
Right.
It's a good trend. It's a positive trend.
But then let's not, I don't want judgment words like limited in the presentation. If you want to say diversity went from 1 in 12 to 1 in 6 or whatever the numbers are, 1 in 16 to 1 in 8, if it's 11% now, that's fine. I would rather stick to the facts and not use words like limited.
How about growing diversity?
But I think we should
That's a
say,
spin that isn't necessarily accurate because it's not great.
So how about just diversity has gone from 6% to 11%?
Yeah.
And if somebody asks what
I love
diversity
that.
means, we say it's the non-white population.
Yeah, right.
why wouldn't you say racial so it's really clear?
Because
That's what the number's based on, is the non-white, which is
You
racial.
could say racial diversity.
Why couldn't we say racial
you
diversity?
can say whatever you want. I think diversity is, you can say that in the words, I don't care. Sure, racial is fine. I just wanted not to have any judgment.
I think
That doesn't add judgment. It just makes it a little clearer.
makes it clear, because there's all kinds of diversity. So you're going to actually put the number?
Yeah.
6% to 12%. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go back and check what exactly the numbers are, but yeah, I'll do that. And then also on the housing, kind of a quick summary, then what we would do is open it for questions. If anybody had questions about what has been presented, either source of information or what it really means, and I'll be prepared to know that. And hopefully Karen will also be standing by, ready to jump in, as well as anyone else who would know.
Terrific.
Okay, then we would move, hopefully with Patrick presenting these, what we would say is we are going to break out into breakout groups. And we're going to ask the breakout groups to have a discussion about each of the following questions. So, and that on the tables in the breakout groups, there will be instruction sheets which basically talk about, that have these questions and a rough estimate of the time that we want to devote to that. So
So these are the questions, so we're just presenting the questions, not discussing them at this point.
yes.
All right.
So it would
The
be
breakout groups.
It would be,
No, I meant at this point in the group presentation.
Yes.
We're going to run through these slides.
yes, and we're hoping you would do that.
And the reason for me doing it is,
So we have multiple people presenting.
and who's presenting the first part?
Randy's doing the intro and introductions to everything. I'm doing those 10 slides in the middle.
Liz, would you be open to doing these slides?
Liz is on so much doxycycline, she's barely,
Liz does not want to.
I just started another
Okay.
3-week course.
And Mark is,
Out of town, and
we would like to have you with us, but
All right, I don't mind. I would,
Visiting people in 6 to 8 is when they'd be
having dinner.
going out to dinner. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I mean, I did mention this weeks ago, but
yeah.
And Bruce.
if you don't want to.
Yeah, Bruce does not want to speak
I
either.
don't want.
He doesn't.
I never really get a chance.
Okay,
I'll do what I can, but I don't know what to do.
right, well, what we're hoping
Bruce
is,
wants to, he could.
no, Bruce
Yeah.
does not want to.
He said he does not want to speak.
Okay.
are you reluctant, Patrick? Because you seem to have a strong grip on this stuff. I mean, what would be your
It's
reluctance?
not that, it's just that this isn't really, this is just literally reading through the slides. I mean, I think it's just kind of a good thing. It's a great way for somebody who's maybe less comfortable, not you.
If I'm awake, I will take it.
All right. Or I'll do it. You know, I'm a bit of a wallflower. I don't like to talk.
Right, Patrick. I think someone
Okay.
should frame that. Right.
So,
You can keep that in your bathrooms every morning. Look.
All right, let's keep going.
so the sequence of things, I do want to make sure we focus on what these questions are, because we've kind of drafted those. They're a little different than the ones that were in what Karen originally suggested to us. So, and we can change them. So they're not set in stone in any way at the moment. But this would be the basis of which we get feedback from the people who were at the meeting. And so if we don't like these questions, we should change them to
But
around.
every one of the bullets here seems like it's more a statement than a question. Are we asking them to weigh in on the following?
What are the needs? What are the housing needs for Stockbridge?
For example,
We need more units that are affordable to middle income
so
residents.
maybe put a question mark at the end of each one. Otherwise, it looks like we're kind of reading,
Okay.
you know.
And actually, on this one, Karen raised the question of, we don't have any question about for people who are disabled, because we have a significant part of the population that's disabled. So do we want to add one more bullet, which is units specifically for disabled?
I think, or accessibility issues, like addressing accessibility issues for the
But just-
disabled population, something like that.
Just bear in mind that there's a new building code that just got rolled out, and none of this gets built without the new building code, which addresses a whole slew of, anything that's affordable now has stringent accessibility requirements already. So, I think the question is, do we want, units for needs above and beyond what the building code calls for? I think that's the question you're asking, like another
Yes.
Riverbrook or something like that. I mean, we can discuss it if you want, but I think,
Well, there's handicap accessibility, there's also service enriched housing, so providing some support services is another issue for an aging population and,
I get that. Yeah. So then say it that way if you want.
Well,
yeah, and I also think you need to be prepared to define middle income.
okay.
I mean,
I do kind of agree with
housing
Patrick.
Isn't actually defined in the slideshows. I assume you did that for a purpose. But if the question is asked, you just ought to be prepared to answer it.
Okay.
Rather than middle income, would it, suggestion be community, workforce housing is a word that's used. I personally don't love that. And I don't know whether other people like the idea of community.
Too vague. Everyone's
I
in
do,
the,
I think middle income makes sense. It's just a matter of, people are gonna say, what is that? What is the range? What does that
middle
mean?
income, 2 teachers with 2 kids.
Yeah. It could also be someone who has a really good job, but has $150,000 in student loans.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like they could make $120,000 a year, but if they're paying $3,000 a month in a student loan.
Good point.
Um,
Okay,
So what would you substitute rather than,
We
Michaela?
have a median income, right? Could you refer to that? Is that considered?
I just
middle?
think I actually like the middle income phrase.
do
I just
too.
think, what is the range? Like if I'm sitting and I'm saying, well, what do you consider middle income? I
Yeah.
think it's, I think what it
Above.
is saying what the slide previously, which is that, people who are getting to the point where they have to pay a 30% for housing that's not unusual.
I think that if you want a technical answer, I would say something like 100 to 200% of AMI. And if it's not a technical answer, it's basically, people who are working, working and, who are working.
We don't want to use AMI.
No?
Well, people, that's an inside
But once
baseball.
again, these are the questions we're asking them to answer.
right.
So why phrase it, you could say middle income or missing middle.
Yeah.
Either way.
We have an income distribution for the population, the resident population. And we showed earlier that, the low income isn't growing and the high income is growing and the middle is shrinking. So why don't we just take that range in the middle?
In the middle, which is
And say,
35
this
to
is
150.
roughly what we're saying, but of course it's a generalization because of issues like what Michaela said, if you have a huge student loan,
Okay.
that's also relevant.
So make sure it's in the notes and I can explain that if I'm doing these.
Okay,
But that chart, the middle is 35,000 to 150.
well, it depends what we define as the middle. It depends how you group them.
Right, but if you look at the two ends,
We could just take the 2 or 3 in the middle, not the 5 in the middle. We could say
Yeah.
focus on the middle 3 tiers if there's 7,
Yeah.
But and we can flavor this a little bit when I present the questions.
Okay. So are there any others that any of you think we should be adding to this or because I put other at the bottom just because they may think of other things that come out of this that we haven't
Yeah.
thought of.
I thought that was important.
Yeah.
I really
Okay.
did like in the original, the idea of like 1 or 2, like being specific about asking people for 1 or 2 strategies to address
That's-
something,
That comes,
We're going to get to
Oh,
that.
that comes next. Okay, great.
The second question is, which of these needs are the highest priority to address? So they're going to define what they think the needs are in the first question, and then we're asking them to identify what do they think are the most important ones. And hopefully, everybody who's in the breakout group would have their own view of what that is. So we might have from one group, multiple answers of what we think are the highest priority.
number 4, I think should you focus on rental housing over home ownership. It's like you're asking people to choose one or the other. Maybe you really need both. So rental housing or home ownership or both, or some combination, or makes sense to me.
I would sub-bullet 4 with a third one. So it'd be like rental housing question, home ownership question. I will explain that's the habitat model. And the third would be hybrid, such as an owner-occupied 2-family. With a
Or
renting
if you
house.
have rental housing in one project and you have a home ownership development in another one. Doesn't
Well,
have to be a hybrid.
A third
specific
is
projects.
a rental unit attached to an owner-occupied ownership unit. And that's not a project, it's basically 2-family.
And that's calling
That's
hybrid?
another option. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll put those 3 options in. On this slide.
maybe the word focus, because that gives an either or, take the word focus out and or. You could have, what are the needs for rental or home ownership and home ownership? Use and rather than or.
Well, then
Well, you know, number 4 actually comes under number 2. You know, when you think about what are the highest priority needs, we're talking about home ownership, we're talking about rentals, we're talking about the whole kit and caboodle. I don't know why it's pulled out.
You want to consolidate that under 2? And just put 2 bullets? Are you were thinking that it referred to
this is,
one?
yeah, it refers, the second question refers to the
First
first.
question.
You know, which are the needs we should
Well, maybe.
prioritize?
We'll
And then
put rental, put it under
4
one.
is a method, if you will, of, or a
about-
vehicle for how we might accomplish
So
that.
instead of should, just put how Stockbridge can focus on rental housing or home ownership. How can we do it?
Well, I think the focus is, how about what are your thoughts on rental housing, home ownership, hybrid, you know?
Or what if you made a distinction, which was good, Jen, but what if, I mean, rental housing and home ownership are also needs.
Yes,
Well, they're
yes.
they're how we would. So if you say there's a need for people who can afford, middle income people who can afford to have housing, that could be either rental or a house or a hybrid unit. This is how you'd accomplish that, not what you're trying to accomplish. Right.
I mean,
So,
I just think that you don't want to have people have to make a decision about, well, should we just focus on rental or should we just focus on home ownership, but that maybe the town needs both. It doesn't have to be in the same project or development or house or dwelling, but maybe the town, and this is my thought, it needs, you know, both types of housing. I just don't want you to lock yourself in so people say they have to choose one or the other.
Well, maybe if you just remove question 4 and underneath question 2 in parentheses, put consider, things to consider, rental, home ownership, hybrid mixed income use, you know, things like that. Just to make sure people are thinking of those things.
again, Michaela, I think 2 is trying to get priorities about which needs we should focus on,
Oh, okay.
not how we would address them. So maybe we don't even need question 4.
Goes from there to.
no.
Oh, we do need a
no.
question.
Oh, I think
Okay.
that's really important. I mean,
I'm really sorry, you guys. I have to jump off and drive my husband to work.
Fun.
Do we,
Hi, Joe.
can I just ask a quick question? Are we meeting at 4 o'clock as well on Monday? Or no?
I don't think we need to.
Okay, so just the 6 o'clock.
Just the
6 o'clock.
Get here a little early.
And some of us will be here early
Let's
just
try
to
and
make
get
sure
early.
Okay.
it's all set up.
Thank you, Michaela.
I'm really sorry I can't be there, but I will be there on Zoom.
And you can FedEx the oysters, don't forget.
Okay, I'll send them.
I thought it
Thank
was
you all
awesome.
so much.
Yeah,
Sound better.
thank you, Michaela. Thanks. We appreciate your being here.
I just want to mention, I have another meeting at 11 o'clock, so
Yes.
So we're done, I
if you
think.
need me, we need to kind of
We're close. We got 2
deal
more.
with the next 10 minutes.
Okay,
Number 5.
so number 5 is, sorry.
Yeah.
Number 5 are what changes should be considered to address housing needs? Zoning revisions,
What's
auxiliary,
auxiliary units?
ADUs.
ADUs.
Can you just
Well, I
put
think you
it?
should say accessory dwelling units.
Yep.
Okay,
I think we should write it out too.
Yes.
okay.
So we had tents? No.
Thank you.
Only,
Okay.
Okay.
Tiny houses.
And this number 6 question is really a very important one, and that's the actions. What are the most important housing actions or strategies for the town to implement?
And what then says to me, just take out number 4 on the last one.
Pardon?
I would take out number 4 on what we were just talking about, the rental or home ownership. What are the most, I think you've almost covered that. What are the most important housing actions or strategies for the town to implement to address housing needs?
Well, why don't we take out 4 and put it
Take
under
out 4, and
6?
don't even have it, just
Wait, what do you mean take out 4?
Delete.
On the other question 4, where we were having such trouble with it. I would take that out. We're covering that in number 6. What are the most important?
So maybe just
actions?
do number 6, but do the 3 bullets, rental housing, home ownership, hybrid, under number 6 and take out 4.
Okay.
I think that works.
But it's not, number 6 is not limited to type of
Yeah, no,
house.
you're right.
Right.
It's much more extensive, and
Yeah.
Just leave it
I
open.
would keep it
Leave it open.
open-ended.
Leave it.
I would leave it open.
Yeah, leave
Cross
4 in
out the
now.
other one.
Yeah.
What?
Leave 4 in?
No,
Yeah,
no,
leave
no,
4.
let's take 4 out
Take 4
and
out.
discuss it under 6.
No, because 4 and 5 set up 6. 4 is about kind of the model of the type of housing, and 5 is about zoning issues. And then 6 lets them sort of get a feel for both 4 and 5, and they're going to comment on what they think is most important. I like it the way it is.
But let's don't use the word focus. then.
Right, just change the wording on 4.
Yeah.
So-
Get rid of 4. Should
We'll
Stockbridge
give you the,
prioritize?
Or how should
No,
Stockbridge prioritize?
no, it's not prioritize. I mean, it's not,
Because then you're picking one or the other,
you're
and that's
picking one or
not,
the other.
we need both.
Feel free to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Discussion on rental and home ownership.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we're that discussion.
Get one of those Yahtzee cubes.
Okay.
All right, good.
All right.
We're done.
Is that it?
And then there would be, after we're done with, and Karen's going to oversee the kind of breakout groups, and then come back, we're going to summarize these actions. And then we're going to have a process for people to vote on which actions they like and which ones
So
they
Karen's
don't.
going to lead that too?
Karen's
Yeah.
going to lead that. And then after we're done with all of that, Randy, you're going to do the next steps and farewell.
Thanks for coming, gang.
All right.
So if we don't get into fisticuffs about it all, thank you all.
Well, hopefully-
Bye, Karen. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. This is
See you
great.
on Monday.
Yes, see you
Yes,
Monday, Karen. Thank
Monday.
you so much.
Oh, we kept under an hour. That's pretty awesome, including the 10 minutes it takes us to figure out.
I know.
We'll get better at that. Okay, thank you all. And Mark, we'll miss you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's too